Guys, this is Andy, Fingerboard, and Jay. I'm going to do a quick review now that I've got to use it. The Berlinwood 33.3 deck, the extra wide, compared to the Berlinwood wide, which is the 32 millimeter. You can see there is a difference. This is the wide. This is the new deck, obviously. This is the extra wide, and this is the wide. I'm pretty sure you guys can tell that. The trucks, the actual where they're placed, the holes, they're drilled the same. The concave is the same. On the 33, it's a little deeper just because it's wider, so it feels deeper. It is actually deeper, but it has the same grade of concave. The kick heights are the exact same in the same angle. The actual tip and the tails are shaped a little different. On the wide, which is the 32 millimeter, they're a little pointier. On the 33, you can see the nose seems a little flatter and the tail seems a little more pointy. But for the most part, they're pretty similar shaped. They have the same trucks. These just look wider because they have the wide flat face G4 wheels. Everything is relatively the same. There's slight differences. The same thicknesses, the same mold for the most part. You can see the width difference that way. So I did a quick unboxing video, or just letting you guys know I had it video, and I really didn't have a lot of time to use it then, but I have had quite a bit of time to use this, and the first day I had it, I did shoot some footage, and I'm going to put that in. I'm going to edit it in afterwards, just so you guys can see the first day footage, which is kind of rough. You would think going from a 32 to a 33 wouldn't be that much of a difference, but they really do have a completely different feel, and really it's just personal preference. You're gonna have to try them to figure it out. The 32, which I thought was wide at the time, it just flips a lot faster, feels a little more nimble, but also has less area for your fingers, so it's a little harder to land. This is a little more effort to flip. It feels a little more clunkier, not as precise, but it's got such a wide landing area, it's easier to actually land the tricks. So if you're getting your first Berlinwood, I would recommend definitely this, because it is a little easier to actually flip the tricks, like you'll see in the video I'm posting, or after this, the little mini I put together. It's not even a mini, it's just some raw footage I filmed the first day I had this. You'll see I was having a lot of trouble with being precise, which has changed. It really was just getting used to it, because the deck is wider. It feels like it's heavier, but I weighed them. There really isn't much of a weight difference. Not really any at all. There is a width difference. That's about it. The pop, it's pretty much the same, given this one's losing its pop, starting to. The flex is the same. Everything's the same. It's pretty much the width, but that 1.3 millimeters difference does make quite a big difference. Given it's just like changing any deck, it's just really just give it time to get used to it. Now that I'm used to this, it kind of feels weird going back to this. This 32 feels super small, that I've been using a 33 all week. So it's really relative to what you're using. If you're using a 30 millimeter or a 29 millimeter deck, I do not recommend this. But if you've been using a 32 millimeter deck, switching to the 33 isn't that hard. It took me a few days of just bullshitting with it to get used to it. I didn't like it the first couple days. Like you'll see in the video, I was kind of getting frustrated with it. And I kept wanting to switch to one of my other decks, but I stuck through it and I used it, and I'm actually really liking it. Given you have to put a little more effort into the flips because it's wider and more mass, so it takes a little more effort to flip it, but because it's so goddamn wide, at least it just feels that much wider, it feels a lot easier to land the tricks, just a little harder to flip them, opposed to this where it's a little easier to flip the tricks, but it still seems a little harder to land them. That's just my personal opinion. But I really like it. Just a little different shaping on the tip and the tail, and you guys can look for yourself. The tails are pretty similar, but the tip, the nose on the 33 is a little flatter. On the 32, it's a little more pointy and roundy. Like I said, the holes are drilled in the same place, pretty much same Berlinwood quality, just wider. The deck, someone asked me, are the decks thicker? Not by any means. The decks are the same thickness. I actually measured them. The decks are not any thicker. They're not really any heavier. There is a tiny bit weight difference, but I have a digital scale that I borrowed from a friend, and there's really no weight difference. It feels heavier just because it's wider, so you're automatically going to have that assumption, but it really isn't heavier. Anyways, that's it, guys. Any questions on it, ask. great deck. Really isn't that wide, so I gotta move the camera. You know, compared to my P-Rep deck, it's really not that much wider. Because the Berlinwood wide decks, in, you know, at least the 3 that I've had 3 of the wides. 2 of the classic molds, 1 of the low molds. They're not actually 32 millimeters. They're like 31.5, and this isn't 33.3. It's actually just 33. I don't know if this one's just a defect deck or that's how they all come, but all 3 Berlinwood wides I've had are only 31.5. They're not actually 33. Or my measuring caliper's off, but I used the actual precise measuring caliper, and then I also used a little ruler, and it came the same. So maybe I've just got 3 in a row. I just have bad luck with all 4, or actually 5 Berlinwoods I've had. But this deck, the P-Rep low, is actually 32.5, and this is 33, so they're really similar width. The only reason I had trouble adjusting to this compared to this, this is just a really low mold deck. As you can see, it's really flat. The kick height's about the same, but you can see on this, it's got a lot deeper concave. This feels like this has the concave of a G14. Like a G14 compared to a regular Berlinwood. I don't know if anybody's had a flat face deck, or who is at least watching this. This kind of has the feel of a flat face G14 deck. I haven't had the G15, so I wouldn't know. So basically, this feels like a G14 deck with lower kicks, I'd say, and it has relatively the same kick height as the P-Rep low, as you can see, except for the tail is a little lower angled. So it's really not that big of a difference, but anyways, I'm going to post something up for you guys. That's it.
Y'all, let's bounce, bounce. I'm from the party to the lobby with the pump. Listen, Poppy, you ain't got it. Get the shotty if you stunt. Maserati in the front. I ain't shoot a nigga, but off one button I could put the body in the trunk. There's a body in the trunk, big body with the fronts. This is to the face, don't even poly on the blunt. I hit mommy if I want, cause she ain't seen a 6'4", so she just loves the M-Potty when it jump. I'ma heave him to the car, fill his heater if you want. You'll be able to see what you've been eating for a month. Our steamers that get launched, me and Paul Ward drag you up and down Florida and leave you in the swamp. I'm a hustler, homie, with some bigger funds, some bigger guns. I pull them out, your kids are run, get rid of something, the kid is done, that's just for fun. And the made back to the base shack, but a laid back for a spray that, that's 6-figure nigga one.
Stacking paper, we breaking bread, we getting money, till the day we dead. This is Swisher House, in the dip set. This is history in the making, baby, that's a bet. Stacking paper, we breaking bread, we getting money, till the day we dead. This is Swisher House, in the dip set. This is history in the making, baby, that's a bet. Live from the Swisher House, straight up out of that third coast. Poppy seal, pour a foe, sip the drink, let's take a toast. I'm on my grind and on my note, I'm breaking bread and chasing hoes, evading laws and tipping foes. This is the player life that I chose. Stack cheese, count cash, bad bitch, big ass, Power Wild and J.R. Ryder getting full of that puff.